Lots to talk about. Let's get right into it, Trevor.
Let's do.
Hell in a Cell. That's not Hell in a Smell, but it was pretty close. Was this past
Yeah.
weekend, and it was underwhelming to say the least for a lot of people who've watched it. I'm sure you've seen a lot of reaction. I'm sure you've reacted to it in that same way, Trevor. What do you think? Just give me your overall impressions of Hell in a Cell as a pay-per-view, and also going into it, we found out that Roman Reigns wasn't going to be wrestling on this show. So, what do you have to think? What do you think about all of that?
I think once most people, myself included, found out Roman Reigns wasn't on the show, I've really had very low expectations after that. To be honest, I mean, because like we've said week in week out, SmackDown is the better product, and matches from SmackDown are what to watch, which is why like Bianca Belair and Bayley was one of the better matches. All in all, it was lukewarm. It had its ups for like 2 seconds, and it had mostly downs.
Yeah. You know what this felt like to me? It felt like watching a very good Impact like TV show in 2020. That's what it felt like. Whatever that means.
Right.
It was the wrestling was fine. I had some questionable outcomes. We'll talk about those. But for the most part, the wrestling was fine. It just didn't do anything. It didn't accomplish anything for me. It didn't make me feel anything. It was kind of like just like, okay, match, good, fine, cool.
Right.
It was just one of those nights and one of those cards. But let's get into the card. To start off the pay-per-view, they had Bianca Belair defending her WWE SmackDown Women's Championship against Bayley in a Hell in a Cell. This was something we didn't get to last week in the review section. It was updated after we'd already recorded that. But what do you think about this match specifically? Because for me, I thought that this was kind of the peak of the entire card. And I thought these two had a good match. But I'll get into what I have to say later. What did you think about this match?
I agree. Like I didn't understand why this match wasn't last. You know what I mean? Like to me, this match should have been last. You've had females, close out shows. Well, I'm sorry, women close out shows before, in title matches. You should have done that with this one. These ladies can perform. We've seen that time and time again. They have great chemistry together. I assumed this was going to be a good match, and it was. It didn't disappoint. You saw Bianca step her game up a little bit too, which is what I was hoping she would do. And Bayley is the perfect person for her to wrestle to do that. So all in all, I thought it was a great match.
Yeah, I thought it was good. For me, I said last week that I wanted to see a different side of Bianca Belair. I wanted to see a Bianca Belair that was kind of ruthless. We saw glimpses of that, I think, in this match, and that's a good thing. It's building her character because before she's this very, very not. I don't want to say bland, but like she's this very cut and dry babyface. Like she's like happy, smiling, and it's weird because it works for her in her current state, and she's getting over by doing it, but what I think the fans want to see is this other side of her as well. They want to see this character evolve into someone who is dangerous and a huge threat, not just a threat athletically, but also a threat to do anything in their power within the rules as a face, obviously, to win the match. And, we saw glimpses of that with the spots of her in a steel chair. I like that. The spot where she powerbombed, I believe, Bayley through the kendo sticks. That was I like that spot.
I like that.
I really thought, because usually you see the same spot, they get a table out and they powerbomb. Cool. You're kind of desensitized to it. But like the kendo stick, I thought that was a good spot. And Bayley and her award-winning rivalry with Michael Cole is just amazing.
Shut up, Michael!
I love that. She's saying what everyone else is thinking. I thought this was great. This was could it have been better? In my opinion, there are things that I would have done differently. There are things that I would have liked to have seen rather differently. I'm not a booker. Don't at me. But other than that, I thought this was the best match on the card for me. And like you said, I do think this should have gone on last because it's, I think, by far the most important match on this card, at least for a lot of wrestling fans who watch the product. You can argue maybe the WWE title match. Oh, well, it's the prestigious WWE title, but at the same time, what's the match that is the best match? The match that people are interested in seeing happen again, and also the match where the most over person on the card is.
Right.
It's Bianca Belair, but
yeah, absolutely.
That's neither here nor there. Good match. Let's move on and talk about Seth Rollins versus Cesaro. He beat Cesaro, so they did Seth Rollins via pinfall. It was, again, this was a fine match, but
it was just a match. It was nothing
nothing
spectacular about it,
Yep. Cesaro went for the sharpshooter, then the crossface, but ultimately Rollins, he out wrestled him for a roll up, and he got one over on him. See you next month at Money in the Bank.
Pretty much. Pretty much. I mean, not saying that either one of them performed badly, because they did. I thought it was a good match as far as wrestling was concerned, but it was just one of those things. Just you're sitting there watching it. It's like, well, all right. What's the next match?
Yeah, it was one of those matches. It's fun to watch, Michael, but like it didn't really do, like you said, didn't really do much. Another thing that I will say is that as far as, this being the feud that Cesaro goes right into after his big moment, after his big WWE Universal title match with Roman Reigns, which was like the biggest moment of his career. After that, like, he goes into this feud that nobody cares about with Seth Rollins. Like, here's the thing. I don't get this. There's a weird disconnect with Seth Rollins that I don't understand, but I know, like, that it's happening, right? Seth Rollins recently, everything that he's done, I think since winning against Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 35, it's come across as just not good. It's just, Seth Rollins is meh. It's meh. And I don't know what the problem is, because there were points where I thought things like, his Monday Night Messiah gimmick were good, and then it kind of just petered out. Part of that was COVID, I guess, but, even then, like, there's other things in COVID that made it through. But Rollins has this weird thing of, he's a great wrestler. He can cut good promos, and he had a great gimmick. And then what they do? Oh, he's ripping Rey Mysterio's eye out, and then he's ripping Aleister Black's eye out, and then he's throwing up afterwards. And then, like, you're not turning him into a monster, you're turning him into a weak heel. And then he's going into a weird storyline with Rey Mysterio's daughter and Murphy, and I don't get it. I don't get it, and it's just not getting him over. And I don't know what the disconnect is. It's just every time Seth Rollins on my screen, now I'm just like, oh my god, it's become a headache.
Yeah, and I mean, and it's a shame too, because you would think him being on SmackDown now would help a little bit, because that product is overall better, but he's just not. No, I mean, at first with the whole him and Cesaro thing, I thought it was going to be an interesting feud, but like it just comes across as bland and actually at this point stale. Like you just don't know what they're going to do with them, or what you can do with them at this point, because, like you said, there's a disconnect there, and I'm not sure exactly if it's with him and the writers, or him with the overall company in general, or just him dealing with something personal. Yeah.
Speaking of personal, what happened in the next match is personal for me, because they have ruined Alexa Bliss. They arguably the most talented all-around performer in the company, they have ruined. Alexa Bliss versus Shayna Baszler was, I think, by far the worst thing on this pay-per-view. She ended up beating Shayna Baszler via pinfall. Okay, that's fine. How she did it, though, and let me just go through this a little bit. All right. So there were certain spots in this match. We talked ad nauseum, Trevor, about how much we hated the build up for this feud. We talked ad nauseum how much we hated the segment of this doll, this magical possessed doll who is driving Shayna Baszler crazy, driving her insane. We've talked ad nauseum how much we hated that. I'm not even gonna bring that up. What happened in this match, there were a few spots. One, there was a spot where Shayna Baszler was twisting Alexa Bliss's arm, and then it did this. She's like double jointed or whatever. So it did this thing where it popped and it like went the wrong way. And Michael Cole's like, "Oh my God, we've never seen this before," and blah blah blah. And oh my God, or not Michael Cole, is Jimmy Smith, whoever's on commentary for Raw. It's like, "Oh, we've never seen this before," and I'm just like, watch any Alexa Bliss match.
Exactly.
When she wrestled, and you've seen it before. It's this thing where WWE doesn't think the fans watch the product. And it's like, this is not it's not the first time this happened. All right, so that's one. Number two, okay, they have Alexa Bliss now doing this weird ineffective way of walking. Yeah, this walking thing where she's doing like a crawl and like what is that? Oh yeah, it's weird. It's not scary.
No,
it's not. It's not getting her over. It's not. It's actually stupid because it's wasting time. Yeah, exactly. It's wasting time. And then the creme de la creme, Trevor, the Baby Yoda spot, as I'm gonna call it.
So
Alexa Bliss has Shayna Baszler down and then looks over at Nia Jax, and then she puts her hand out, and then Nia Jax is possessed by Alexa Bliss, and it causes Nia Jax, and basically it's this weird voodoo thing where whatever Alexa Bliss does, Nia Jax is now doing, and she slaps Reginald, and I like hokey stuff in wrestling, right? I like to laugh at hokey stuff in wrestling. I was not laughing. I was literally sitting there watching the clock. Do you ever do this thing when you're like, all right, there's X amount of time left in the pay-per-view, and then like this match can only go so long. That's what I was doing. I was waiting for this match to be over. This was terrible. -5 stars. This was bad. And that it was Twisted Bliss for the win. What do you got to say, Trevor?
So when the match came on, I was like, do I really want to watch this? And I was like, yeah, I'll watch it. And I cracked open something to drink, and I remember I'm putting it up to my mouth, and then I saw the spot with that you're talking about with whoever is announcing on Raw, and I'm like, really? She's done this before, and don't get me and also don't get me wrong, the announcing did not help the match at all either, because I'm still not sold on him. I'm not sold on this guy at all. I like him when he did MMA, but I'm not sold on him as a wrestling announcer. But yeah, it was just one of those things. I'm like, what the hell? And then the whole the Jedi mind tricks thing, and I'm like, all right, I'm done with this. I'm done with you. Thank you, Vince, for ruining my life. But dude, it's just like you had so many opportunities to make this better. It could have been so much better. But first off, you ran the whole gimmick into the fucking ground in the first place, which didn't help it. Then you can repeatedly do stupid things to make this even more stupid. Like, and where was Lily in all this? If she's such a possessed doll, where the hell was she in all this?
Well, she's been suspended, Trevor, for 90 days for substance abuse issues. I don't know. I hate. I don't care. I don't care. Keep the doll off TV. Look,
exactly.
Dude, with this, I love Alexa. Alexa Bliss actually is my favorite.
She's super talented.
She is my favorite. She's my favorite female performer, and she's one of my favorite overall performers there is. Right.
Right.
I am a mark for Alexa Bliss because I think she's the best promo. Probably second or third best promo in the company if we're talking real. And whatever she does, she actually makes it work. Except this is not working.
And her matches are normally entertaining. I haven't.
She's a great worker.
Honest. I haven't seen and I don't know if it has something to do because I know she has had some illnesses in the past, and I'm not sure if that had anything to do with it. But I haven't seen a super entertaining match from her for a while now. And I'll be honest, for a while now, since maybe the tag team matches.
A lot of so here's the thing. She was going through injuries and illnesses like you talked about the past few years. But go back and watch. I think it was the first SmackDown pay-per-view after the WWE draft in 2016. I think she was in a match for I think it was the SmackDown Women's title, or maybe it was a qualifier at the pay-per-view, and she killed it. She knocked it out of the park. Like, that was Alexa Bliss's, like, she became a made woman in that match. Yep, and like we already knew she was a great talker. And then she became a great worker. She had great matches with Ronda Rousey. She went everything she does usually is great. And Shayna Baszler as well. Shayna Baszler and Alexa Bliss should be a great match. It should not have been whatever the fuck we saw last week. There shouldn't have been lights flickering. There shouldn't have been voodoo magic. There shouldn't have been Reginald. No Reginald. There should not have been Reginald. like this was just bad.
And this is just another example of WWE ruining wrestlers. You know what I mean? Like, and I hate to say it quite like that because it sounds really super harsh, but look what they did to Asuka. I mean, look, prime example. Look what they did to Asuka. Like, Asuka comes out now, sometimes looks like a blithering idiot. And Asuka's probably one of the most talented women on the roster. Like, it's a shame. It's just a shame.
Yep. Negative 5 stars. Never want to see it again. Reboot Raw. Moving on. Let's talk about Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn.
7,006.
yeah. Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn, part 85. And the never-ending feud between Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn wrote its latest chapter, not its last. These guys just had a match at WrestleMania, and then their feud stopped. And now they're okay. So anyway, we saw Sami Zayn pick up the win, and I thought it was actually a pretty good. I thought this was a pretty good match. It was fine because whenever you see Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens in a match, it's gonna be a good match. Yeah. Was it their best match? I don't think so. Anyway, so Owens nursed his arm for most of the match. They speculated an injury on commentary. He's gonna be out for the next number of weeks, so it might be injury related. He would mount a valiant offense back, but then a bloodied Sami Zayn sprinted across the ring to deliver a haluva kick to win the match. Zayn beating Owens clean. Yeah. What do we think of that, Trevor?
Again, like you said, and we've said previous weeks before, because they wrestled on WrestleMania, they have good programs together. Their promos are normally pretty good. The match is normally good. The moves are spot on. Like, they do well together. They really do complement each other very well. With that being said, I think there's such a thing as too much of a good thing. And I think at this point, it's done. Like, I know you have your purists that are, ooh, fight forever. No.
Kevin Dunn piping in the crowd noise. When Kevin Dunn pipes in "Fight Forever" crowd noise in the Thunderdome, that's when I just lose. There's only so much like suspension of disbelief that can happen in one time. Like that's just stop. Anyway,
it's done. Continue. It's done at this point. Like, I mean, like I said, yeah, it wasn't a bad match. Like, honestly, it really wasn't a bad match. It's just one of those things that I'm just done seeing it. It was a good match. I'll give it like maybe a 3 or 4 out of 5, but it's just I'm just done. I'm just tired of seeing it. Like,
CM Punk once said in an interview that he thought that him and Daniel Bryan, after their initial feud in WWE, should have been like on separate brands. Should not have been anywhere near each other for like next few years.
Right.
Because that's like a feud you can always go back to. That's a feud you can always do, and it'll make money. This feud specifically with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn is not making any money. No. They're wasting this. They are wasting this feud. They are wasting its shelf life. And like look, they could go WrestleMania. I was fine with it because Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn at WrestleMania. Hell yeah, make it happen. Let's do it. That's great. Absolutely. Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn at Hell in a Cell, not in a Hell in a Cell match, but in a singles match at Hell in a Cell. Like literally 3 weeks before you go in the Thunderdome, but 3 weeks before you go live in front of fans. Yep. Why not at least wait till SummerSlam? Like why not at least wait till you guys
build it up to something like. Build it up to something really climactic and really intense, and put it in a Hell in a Cell then, or make it a no falls count anywhere, or something like that. Like,
dude, just make a business decision, damn it! Like, come on, it's just these are two of you. These are two of your best workers in the company, and you just like did a throwaway match that wasn't. If we're being honest, it wasn't even as good as these two can do it because these two are two of the best in the world. But anyway,
yep.
Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte Flair for the WWE Raw Women's title. They just need to find a way to condense these names of some of these titles. Like anyway. The honey mustard barbecue title. Anyway, Charlotte Flair versus Rhea Ripley for Rhea Ripley's WWE Raw Women's Championship was also meh on this card. Charlotte Flair ended up defeating Rhea Ripley via disqualification after Ripley threw the board on the announce table at Charlotte Flair, caused a DQ. And again, I don't know what they're doing with this. Both of them seem to be very obnoxious heels in this, and usually it doesn't work for a reason, but they're doing it, Trevor. What did you think about this match?
Yeah, it was funny. I was one of my buddies who knows I do this podcast. He was like, "Oh, so you want to talk about Rhea Ripley's heel change?" I was like, "Heel turn? What are you talking about? She had a heel turn against Charlotte in Hell in a Cell." I was like, "Shut up."
she's been a heel since that match with Asuka. Like
I was like, shut up. Let's stop talking. Like, but no, it's just one of those matches that again was meh. I mean, it wasn't bad. Like, I mean, they both performed pretty well. It was just like completely uninterested because, like you said, Charlotte has been completely annoying, and so has Ripley the past couple weeks. Like, I just wanted them both to lose. Like, honestly, I just didn't want to see him anymore. It was just one of those things. I'm just tired of it.
Asuka should have won that triple threat match, and they should have just moved on from there. Asuka should still be champion, but yeah, this was not great. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know who's supposed to get over. But yeah, I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't want to talk about this anymore because we're probably going to be talking about it until SummerSlam anyway. Because it looks like they're going to do a rematch at Money in the Bank because Rhea Ripley got called. By the way, Rhea Ripley got called out. She was like, "Oh, how dare you abuse this disqualification rule? Because it's champion's advantage. If the champion gets disqualified, they keep the belt. Right. How dare you abuse this?" That's what Adam Pearce said on Raw, and I was just like, dude. Literally every heel in the history of wressling has tried this. And which is why I actually appreciate what AEW does with this. And I know it's like a slippery slope, right? But I actually do like the way AEW's done this, where it's like if the heel champion tries to get disqualified, like we'll go watch the Revolution match with Jericho and Mox. If the heel champion tries to do that, the ref will just be like, the ref won't disqualify them outright, but they'll try to get control of the situation. So. But no, in WWE, there has to be a way out. There always has to be a way out. But
there's always a way out because there's a pay-per-view, no way out.
All right, moving on. Let's try to find our way out of this pay-per-view. Bobby Lashley defended his WWE Championship against Drew McIntyre in Hell in a Cell. It was fine. I'm sorry. I'm so over this pay-per-view. It was fine. It wasn't that great. We saw a ref bump where McIntyre accidentally hit the ref with a steel chair. MVP unlocked the door, broke up a pinfall attempt, and then as McIntyre tries to hit the Claymore kick, MVP distracts him, and we saw Lashley win with a cheap roll-up. 1, 2, 3. Lashley retains his title, and Drew McIntyre will not be able to challenge for the WWE Championship as long as Lashley is champion. Also, big caveat, even if Drew ends up winning the Money in the Bank, he can't challenge Bobby Lashley. Nope. So that's actually a big caveat that I learned. So, Trevor, what did you think about this match?
Meh. Meh. I mean,
Big Bang and meh. This whole pay-per-view, just meh.
I mean, at this point, you've seen Drew and Lashley fight like maybe 3-4 times. And like, I mean, I'm actually surprised you didn't have the same match that you have on Raw every freaking week with McIntyre fighting against either Xavier Woods or Kofi Kingston or a number of the other people he fights. Like, it's just, oh my God. It's just, why, WWE? Why do you do this? Why do you make it so easy to hate you?
Yeah, and this was okay. It accomplished something. That hey, look on the bright side. It accomplished something. Now we know about that Drew McIntyre will not be challenging Bobby Lashley next month at Money in the Bank. It will, however, be your boy, or my boy, Kofi Kingston, challenging Bobby Lashley at Money in the Bank. So it's nice to see Kofi finally get a WWE title match against.
Yeah, it is. But
somebody.
they're not going to let him win it, so it doesn't matter. But
could you imagine if they squashed him like they did with Lesnar?
I was so pissed off at that. I was so pissed off by that.
That was like, they had to do it on SmackDown. Like, I get it. They were trying to pop a rating or whatever. And,
I get it, but like, you know how many people were pissed at that?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think that's also the end goal, right? I'm not as mad about Kofi losing the title per se to Lesnar. I just wish they had built it up as a bigger thing, because they didn't build it up at all. They just said, "Oh, Kofi Kingston got me challenging Brock Lesnar."
I was mad at the way they did it. You know, I was mad at the way they did it, and the fact that there was no build up, and then also the fact Kofi barely had it for 8 months, if he had it that long. Like,
I mean that's the thing too. I would much rather have seen them. If you were gonna do it, I would much rather have seen them do the whole John Cena thing, like build it up at a pay-per-view, build it up at Survivor Series or whatever, or even like not even Survivor, at a pay-per-view. Don't build it up on SmackDown. Build it up at a pay-per-view, and then like you can have Brock decimate Kofi for like 10 minutes, like Kofi gets maybe 1 or 2 offensive moves in, have him decimated, but make him look like a fighting champion.
Exactly.
That's the thing. That was my thing the whole time. And then he didn't get his title match back, which I think a lot of people were like, they could have done something there, but they didn't, because I don't know why. I don't know. I can't explain it.
It was just a lot. It was one of those things that I didn't agree with. But
yep. So was this pay-per-view, and I am so thankful we are done talking about this. Hell in a Cell 2021 is in the books. Yeah, any last thoughts on this pay-per-view? What did you think about the lack of Roman Reigns on this pay-per-view? And then, yeah, what did you think about that?
I think it actually hurt it, honestly. I do. I mean, I understand why, but I think it I think it hurt it, honestly, because it was a weak pay-per-view. It really was.
You know what would have saved this pay-per-view? Dominic Mysterio falling off the cell. Dominic Mysterio being thrown off the cell. I'm telling you, dude. I'm telling you. That was a thumbnail for my preview video, for the Hell in a Cell preview video we did. It was literally, I put Dominic getting thrown off the cell as the preview thumbnail. And I was so excited. I was like, all right, we're going to see on Father's Day. Dude, they didn't even have him wrestle. I'm so mad. It's Father's Day, and they did nothing with the father and son tag team champions they have.
They did nothing with it. It was actually quite sad.
It's right there. I'm patient, I swear, with WWE. I'm patient. I watch Raw every week, by the way. Don't ever. I don't want anyone to ever say, "Oh, you don't even watch them." I watch Raw every week.
I watch the highlights every week. I don't watch.
I don't. I have to. I watch. I subject myself to 3 hours a week.
See, I like myself. That's why I don't do it.
I do. I like you too, buddy. Anyway, Hell in a Cell. Goodbye. Thanks for watching this video from Real Take Sports Talk. Remember to like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever a new video is released. Also, remember to check out our live show every single Thursday at 8 p.m. right here on the YouTube channel. And remember, keep it real.